Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Our major stories tonight. Bishop Paul Lontsie-Keune of the Baptist Diocese calls on Cameroonians to overcome fear and speak out for change. During a homily at the Domelong pilgrimage, he emphasized that shedding fear and voicing out our frustration is crucial for transformation. Despite receiving intimidating messages after his powerful message, Bishop Keune remains resolute in his advocacy for change, including a push for massive registration on the electoral list. And also we'll tell you how today marks the beginning of the Paschal Triduum, a sacred period commemorating Jesus Christ's crucifixion on the cross. In today's edition of the news, we explore the profound significance of this Paschal Triduum on today's news edition. Stay with us for greater details. Thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television for presentation. I am Immaculate Fogwe. Bishop Paul Lontsie-Keune of the Baptist Diocese has urged Cameroonians to confront fear and speak out. Addressing his Christians during the homily in the Domelong pilgrimage, he emphasized that for change to be possible in Cameroon, people must shun fear and pour out their frustration. The next day after the powerful message he was sent by the servant of God, announced that he had received a provocative message aimed at intimidating him, but he says he is determined to continue encouraging Cameroonians to do what he thinks is right. We have greater details with Malak Glory.
Car nous sommes disciples d'un roi crucifié. Je n'en dis pas plus aujourd'hui.
His Lordship Paul Lontsie-Keune says he will not give up on his calls for Cameroonians to be fully registered and exercise their constitutional rights come October 2025, despite the provocative messages and intimidations directed towards his person.
Trois de raisons que les évêques vous donnent maintenant, c'est de vous inscrire sur les listes.
The bishop made this declaration on heels of messages of intimidations he received after he called on Cameroonians during the Domelong pilgrimage to stand up for their rights. Cowards die many times before their death. The valiant never taste of death but once. With this powerful quote from Shakespeare, his Lordship Paul Lontsie set the tone for his homily during the annual pilgrimage at Domelong in Cameroon's West region, urging Christians and all Cameroonians to rise above fear and confront the pressing issue facing the nation. Addressing a large congregation, Bishop Lontsie lamented the growing culture of silence among Cameroonians who, out of fear of repression, choose not to speak about their pain and suffering. The bishop stressed on courage and civic engagement, saying the time to speak is now or ever remain silent. Regret, he says, is found in the grave. He goes further to describe the destructive nature of evil, stating that the devil seeks only to destroy and to reign. The bishop is bitter about the suffering endured by many in silence. Bishop Lontsie Paul challenged Cameroonians to recognize their dignity and strength, citing a rallying slogan. He declared, "Impossible is not a Cameroonian. We are children of the almighty continent, capable of anything and ready to face any challenge. He emphasized that remaining silent under the weight of oppression is not only harmful but ultimately futile. You will die in silence with too much burden. When speaking up could change everything, he said. The bishop also addressed critics who urged that religious leaders should not engage in politics, reiterating the importance of active civic participation, especially regarding elections. When I call for people to register massively on the electoral list and take charge of their vote, they say it's not my responsibility. The bishop
Today marks the beginning of the Paschal Triduum, a sacred period observed by Christians worldwide, commemorating the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. To explore its significance and impact on Christian life, our reporter Asa Lucilengo spoke with Father Nongen, a Catholic priest, and now came up with this report.
Christians around the world, including those in Cameroon, are observing a period that traces the final days of Jesus' life, his death, and his resurrection from death. A priest at St. Paul Nilong, Father Anor, explains that the Paschal Triduum constitutes of 3 days, beginning from Holy Thursday to Holy Saturday, with each day traditionally marked by a specific liturgy.
Passion, la mort et la résurrection de notre Seigneur et Sauveur Jésus-Christ.
On Holy Thursday, Christians from various denominations hold a special evening mass that includes the Eucharist, commemorating the Last Supper with Jesus.
Et le sacrement et le vendredi saint.
While Good Friday is marked by fasting and prayers, remembering Jesus' suffering and death on the cross as a sacrifice for humanity's sins.
C'est un jour de jeûne.
And the last day of the Paschal Triduum is the Holy Saturday, a period where Christians reflect on the time Jesus spent in the tomb after his crucifixion.
Et le samedi saint, nous allons vivre la Pâque résurrection.
By reflecting on Jesus' actions and teachings, Bikande Bijil and other believers say that during this period and beyond, they learn to forgive others, embrace reconciliation, and cultivate love.
Passer cette période, le Seigneur nous donne la force et le courage de continuer, n'est-ce pas, à vivre avec nos frères et sœurs malgré leurs maladresses, malgré leurs défauts.
After the Holy Saturday, Christians across the world celebrate Easter Sunday, which marks the resurrection of Jesus and the beginning of the Easter season.
Douala International Airport have intercepted psychotropic drugs weighing 70 kilograms worth $3 million. The consignment was found in the air compressors of a Rwandan flight from South Africa. Findings are ongoing to identify and apprehend those behind it. Innocent Azer tells us more.
70 kilograms of psychotropic drugs, including cocaine, methamphetamine, and ephedrine, was intercepted and seized at the Douala International Airport, thanks to the vigilance and aptitude of the airport customs officers.
On the instruction of the Director General of Customs, I am pleased to announce that the Customs Service at Douala International Airport successfully seized a substantial quantity of illicit drugs air freighted into our country from South Africa. This operation represents a significant victory in our ongoing effort to combat the trafficking of dangerous goods and enhance border security. Thanks to the diligent effort of our officers.
The harmful drugs, amounting to $3 million, were hidden in the air compressors of an Airbus of the Rwandan airline from South Africa.
This seizure highlights our commitment of border security and our determination to disrupt the criminal networks involved in drug trafficking. This success is a testament to the dedication and professionalism of our custom team. We will remain vigilant and work tirelessly to protect our nation.
Investigation is on course to identify and arrest the smugglers.
We are collaborating closely with our law enforcement agencies and the Department of Justice to ensure the thorough investigation and to bring those responsible to justice.
It is thanks to the prompt collaboration of the French Customs Department in Dakar, Senegal, that facilitated the seizure of the 70 kilograms consignment of these psychotropic drugs. It is through their training that Cameroonian customs officials benefited on their expertise to detect new methods of smuggling or trafficking drugs. These Cameroonian customs officials are more and more engaged in such related trainings that will enable them effectively fight against these dangerous substances harmful to the health of the population.
Innocent Aze reporting there. The Budgetary and Financial Disciplinary Council of the Ministry of Supreme State Audit has revealed that the loss of 145.4 billion francs CFA by Cameroon to mismanagement and corruption. In its latest report, the Disciplinary Council reveals that they have handled over 1,058 public administrative officials, implicating 340 people since 2008. Economic experts say that the implementation of Article 6 remains the most pertinent input if Cameroon wants to eliminate corruption. Femi Armstrong Sanda tells us more.
Between the year 2008 and 2024, the Budgetary and Financial Disciplinary Council attached to the Ministry of the Supreme State Audit in Cameroon claims to have handled some 137 cases related to mismanagement by public administrative officials in the country.
In its latest report, it points out that it was involved in 1,058 mismanagement cases, which involved over 340 people, and it pointed out 347 irregularities. It also imposed a fine of 246 million francs CFA and forwarded 146.4 billion to the Ministry of Finance. So definitely it has its own limitations, like CONAC.
The body declared itself incompetent over 78 alleged grievances according to the Supreme State Audit Ministry. It says the damage suffered by the public authorities retained by certain offenders amounts to the sum of 145.1 billion francs CFA.
And pushes the 145.4 billion to the Ministry of Finance, pointing out its limited capacity to enforce this sanction or recover this money. There is also the case of the Anti-Corruption Commission, which has been decrying its limited ability to enforce its own decisions. There have been talks of the updated version of the Penal Code to inculcate the UN Convention Against Corruption, which also implies that defaulters can have 5 to life imprisonment terms for corrupt practices and can pay a fine. The fine is very, very necessary to deter these corrupt practices, but it's important for the amount stolen to be recovered. Probably we need to put in more stringent structures or reinforce our structures that we have so that they can some can just focus on collecting the stolen funds to help Cameroon recover this money and continue its drive towards socio-economic progress and hopefully achieving its vision of 2035.
Regarding the profile of officials regularly singled out for mismanagement, the institution specifies that these are primary credit authorizing officers, notably credit managers and public credit controllers.
Of course, fighting corruption also requires the use of the famous Article 66 of 25th April 2006, which was voted by Parliament, which calls for state-appointed officials to declare their assets 90 days within their appointment.
Another group of mismanagers, according to the report, includes mayors, deputy directors, university rectors, as well as other officials of this senior category.
On to other news, the divisional officer for Banga, K4 Christian, has urged residents of Kombe Road to fully support their new leader. This appeal follows a series of consultative talks aimed at ensuring a smooth transition. The divisional officer emphasized on the importance of unity and cooperation under the new leadership. Smaji Kangable is the man on that story.
The installation of the quarterhead of Kombe Road disrupted as a result of a misunderstanding. After several hours wasted with the fight of who is supposed to replace the late quarterhead, with some of the opinion that they are no longer afraid of intimidation as they want a Ballon native to take over.
La récréation est terminée. La récréation est terminée. Laissez-moi parler. Le temps de l'intimidation est passé. Maintenant, où un ballon est fait ici, où il n'y aura pas de chef ici.
The paramount ruler of Ballon, His Royal Highness Mukete Ngo Magellan, called for peace. Something that forced the divisional officer of Mbanga to request the natives of Kombe Road to work with the new chief.
The notables presented Mr. Nama Nebarak as the new chief of Kombe Road. They come out with a consensus. The first notable is Mr. Alex Mula. The second notable is Mr. Esumba. And the other, I wanted to, first of all, congratulate the population for their dynamism, for being disciplined after all the provocations and other issues that we saw here.
He further appreciated the level of maturity displayed by the natives throughout the process.
None of you use violence, and that's what we want to appreciate. We want to assure the population of Kombe Road that the administration will continue to be beside you so that everything should go on smoothly in Kombe Road.
The new chief says everyone will be brought on board. It's been 5 years I have been working here as a chief. It's not a victory, but an accomplishment, as I'm fulfilling the wish of my ancestors. I know about their grievances, and as a chief, I will meet all of them for us to talk. Kombe Road, should be recalled, had many people from the Central region settled there as a result of construction work of the train line from Banga to Kumba.
And out of Cameroon, a devastating fire has ravaged a camp for displaced people in Sudan's western Darfur region, destroying over 50 homes. Fortunately, no casualties were reported, but the cause of the fire remains unclear. The incident further worsens the already dying living conditions of those displaced. Seri Chakutio is the man on our foreign page.
Appointed as the new African Union mediator in the conflict tearing Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo apart, replacing Angolan President João Lourenço on April 11th, the Togolese head of state made his first field visit to Kinshasa on Wednesday. In the Congolese capital, for Nasingbe met with his counterpart Felix Tshisekedi. Before heading to the Democratic Republic of Congo to inaugurate his mission, for Nasingbe traveled to Luanda to meet with his predecessor Angolan President João Lourenço for a sort of handover between the two men. While their meeting ended without any speeches, it is known that the situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo was logically at the heart of their discussion. Elsewhere in Sudan, a fire destroyed over 50 houses in a camp of displaced people in Sudan's west region of Darfur. Footage that was captured by the General Coordination of Displaced Persons and Refugees in Darfur showed the fire that happened in Mokash camp. There were no reports of casualties, and it wasn't clear what caused the fire that worsened the living situation of the displaced people. More than 300 civilians were killed in 2 days of intense fighting in Sudan's conflict-wracked Darfur region. Sudan plunged into conflict since April 15, 2023, when long-simmering tensions between its military and paramilitary leaders broke out in the capital Khartoum and spread to other regions, including the vast western Darfur region.
And that's it for this first part of the news. Talking Point is up next. Coming up in the second part of the news, we'll be looking at how the Central African Republic is stepping up her development and industrialization drive, under the leadership of the country's president, Professor Faustin Touadéra, with the aid of international partners. Afriland First Holdings and the Indian multi-million-dollar industrial company Mahasakthi Group are among the leading partners breaking new grounds to enhance industrial production in the country. They are piloting a giant industrial cultivation and transformation of sugarcane and cassava. And the special envoy to Bangui, Babla Jonathan, spoke to the chairman, the managing director of Mahasakthi Group, RAJKUMAR, and the chairman of Afriland First Holdings, Dr. Laurent FONDJO. And stay with us as we have greater details in this interview.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on this special program. We're looking at the development strides of the Central African Republic with the support of her development partners. Focus on the agro-industrial sector, a sector with a lot of potentials, a sector receiving a significant push from a multi-million-dollar industrial conglomerate, Mahasakthi Group, and its chairman and managing director, RAJKUMAR, is our guest today. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
Right, this is your first time visiting Africa.
Yes.
And of course, the Central African Republic.
Yes.
You've been here for some days now. You've met with some Central Africans, including some top authorities like the President of the Republic and some ministers. You had a meal also. Can you tell us your perception of this country?
Central African Republic is a great country with a lot of potentials and with a lot of natural resources. I'm extremely pleased to meet the Honorable President of the country along with his cabinet colleagues, and I had a very, very useful discussion with them, and I'm also extremely happy on their hospitality provided to me and my team, and today I had a very, very fruitful discussion with His Excellency the President of the Central African Republic and his entire cabinet colleagues.
Right, so the Central African Republic is described as the place where God hid his treasures, making reference there to the huge economic potentials of the country. What is your assessment of the country's potentials that attracted you to come and invest here, and more particularly in the agro-industrial sector?
Mahasakthi Group has been in the agro industry since 1950s, and we have the expertise in sugar production, and cassava is also similar to sugar production. We really thought Central African Republic has the real climate similar to India and all the potentials for growing sugar cane, which can be a big boon to the country. As such, the agro industry, like India has developed only because of the agro industries. Any country to move forward needs agro-based industry, whereby it supports the economy and the farmers and the people, and it doubles the income of the farming community, thereby the economy improves and the whole country improves.
Now, Mahasakthi Group has a robust market presence across multiple industrial sectors, including the textile sector, poultry, real estate, renewable energy, and others. But you've chosen to invest in the Central African Republic in the cultivation and transformation of sugarcane and cassava. Give us an understanding of this choice.
To be very honest, the entire African nations are deficit in sugar production, and sugar as such has got tremendous potential in the entire African continent. For example, when we cultivate the sugarcane, what happens to Central African Republic is that mostly close to 5,000 people will get employment in both the sugar and cassava industry directly. Indirectly, you will have 20,000 people getting indirect employment opportunities. And also for the farmers, around 2,000 to 3,000 farmers will be directly benefited, and around 15,000 farmers will be indirectly benefited. Thereby what happens is the economy grows, the farmers get good income, and this cultivation brings in stability. Cassava again is a staple food crop for the country, and three different activities in sugar happens. One is the sugar production. Number two is the power generation. We are planning a 60 megawatt cogeneration power out of the sugar production and cassava production. And thirdly, you also have ethanol, which is very, very important today for the whole planet, because it's a very, very clean energy.
And you're visiting the Central African Republic for the signing of a partnership agreement, which is described as a strategic partnership agreement with the government of the Central African Republic. Tell us about this agreement.
Yes. In fact, our team visited Central African Republic around 6 months back, and they made assessments, visited the farms and fields, and they also visited the Sugarcane Institute over here, and they stayed here for more than a week and went around. See, basically this partnership is going to give a great thrust for both our group and for the country, and this can lead other investments to come into the country, because we are getting into this country with $1 billion investment, which can be of a great help for the Central African Republic, and we are getting all support from the government for going forward.
Now, about the financial package, what is the monetary value of this project? Or in other words, how much are you investing? How much is your company investing in this project?
The total investment over a period will be close to $1 billion. 1 billion American US dollars will be the amount of investment which the company will be bringing into the country over a period of time. It will come in stages. For example, when we implement cassava and when we implement sugar, on phases it will be a $1 billion investment into the country.
$1 billion investment. Now, still about the investment, can you tell us, is it just your company that's bringing in the money, or how will
it'll be a combination of debt, it'll be a combination of fundraising, and it'll be with the Mahasakthi strength we'll be able to raise the money to bring into the country.
All right, so can you give us some estimates of expected value creation, wealth creation, job creation that should come out of this project?
The wealth creation will be great for the country, because any asset created for any nation, it is the nation's asset. When I say when you have an ultra modern sugar factory, you are going to have a great asset to the nation. When you have the cassava and the gas production and the power, it's going to be a great asset to the nation. Number two, the farmers are organized. Today, tomorrow, you will have the microfinances coming inside, along with the sugar factory, which will guarantee the microfinances for the farmers. So the farmers' livelihood will go up. And when I mean when you have 5,000 direct jobs, you are going to have 5,000 employment directly into the company. And 20,000 jobs is like the trucks carrying various materials out of the factories, the spare parts and other things which are coming into the country. You will have close to around 20,000 indirect jobs, both in cassava and in sugar. And thereby, when the investment of $1 billion, when it moves into the country in stages, it also creates great wealth. And unlike other sectors, this sector is going to serve the nation. It's not like something is being taken away from the nation. It's here which is being brought into the nation, and an asset is created for this. Apart from this, today when we met His Excellency, the President of Central African Republic, we are also told that when we do this, we will also be bringing in an agricultural college to train the local people and get the local students study BSc agriculture, which the Mahasakthi group will also be supporting.
All right. Now let's talk about the execution of the project. Give us the timeline and how it will be done.
Basically, what we will be doing is immediately we have invited the ministers to visit India by end of May, for them to come there to see the sugar factories and other production of power, sugarcane production and electricity production, for them to see for themselves. And probably our team will move in by early July over here for the assessment and other things. I think for the first 4 or 5 months, the investments will start coming inside step by step, because first we'll assess the lands, and second the land development will start, third the factory development will start, and fourth the equipments will move inside, and it's going to come one by one.
How much of local labor force are you going to use, especially in the transformation part of the project?
I think immediately 30 to 40% will be from local. As we train, we plan to take them up to 75-80% of the local labor. Ultimately, the local labor and the local people have to have the opportunity of working in this project.
Are you also thinking and working in the perspective of transfer of technology? You mentioned training, right?
Yes, we will see a very good advantage is that the Mahasakthi group and the Shakti group has got a lot of colleges in India. Today in India, close to 30,000 students study in all our colleges. We have from schools, engineering colleges, arts and science colleges, agriculture colleges, polytechnics. So that will be a great advantage for the students of Central African Republic also to get trained over here and there. So the technology transfer will be very easy.
Right. Africa First Holdings, Afriland First Holdings played an important role for us to get to this point. Tell us about your collaboration with Afriland First Holdings.
Yeah, Afriland First Bank Chairman Dr. Fokam is a great friend of us, and Dr. Fokam University and our Kumaraguru University are working together already in Cameroon, and we envisage to bring the same system into Central African Republic. Dr. Fokam is known to all of us for more than 10 years, and he has visited Coimbatore and we have visited all our factories, and he knows us. He's a great friend. I am so happy that he was instrumental in bringing us into Central African Republic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. We are receiving Dr. Guy Laurent FONDJO. He is the chairman of Afriland First Holdings. Mr. Chairman, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Right, we're talking about the strategic partnership agreement between the government of the Central African Republic, or the state, and the Indian company. And of course, this has to do with sugarcane and cassava production and transformation at the industrial scale. Now, tell us, Afriland First Holdings facilitated the sugarcane and cassava industrial cultivation and transformation project in the Central African Republic. How did you go about this?
Yes, thank you very much. Afriland First Holdings play a role what I would call an active facilitator, because it is not only linking the government and the company Mahasakthi Group, but it is more than that. So we started by meeting the government, especially the President of the Republic, Professor Touadéra, and asking him, what are the needs of your population? What is the vision? What do you think can be suitable to your population? And what are your priorities? And he said, please look at agriculture, and especially cassava and sugarcane. And then we made the studies on how the industry of cassava and sugarcane can impact the population, not only at the level of the company investing, but also at the level of individuals of the country. So we made the study, the feasibility study. Based on the feasibility study, we had the agreement, the approval of the head of state to go ahead and look for partners. And then we went out to look for partners. And that is where we met Mahasakthi Group some years back. And we went there, we traveled to India to see, to touch, and to smell what they were doing. And we noticed that it was a company that was well skilled, that has more than 100 years in the sugarcane industry. We visit some of their plants. They have 6 plants, and they produce thousands of tons of sugar every day. So based on that, on our partnership we have with them and the relationship we have with them, we came back and told the president that we have found a right partner for the government. And that is why we started the negotiation, and we reached to the agreement that was signed. And now the next step is to
implement.
Right, you already started answering my next question about your due diligence. You did your due diligence. Now tell us more about the facts that enabled you to ascertain the credibility and competence of Mahasakthi Group to handle this project.
First of all, Mahasakthi Group is not a new group for us. We have been in partnership since a couple of years. And also, is one of the biggest group in India. And in the sugarcane industry, they are the first in India. And what really attracts us is their model. It is not only about producing sugar from a given company and selling it. We also notice that they have social impact of what they were doing. And that really fits with our policy and our strategy. So what will happen is that when Mahasakthi will create that company, then they will have, for example, for the sugar plant, they need 20 hectares of land. The 20 hectares will be split into two. 10 hectares will belong to Mahasakthi Group, and 10 hectares will be shared among the population. There are some population, local farmer, who will take 5 hectares, 10 hectares, 20 hectares, depending on their capability. And they will be able to also produce sugar cane that will be sold to Mahasakthi Group. And Mahasakthi will bring them technical assistance in terms of fertilizer, in terms of their agricultural techniques, and in terms of training them. And when they will have that, with that training, they'll be able to increase their production yield. And their farm will be more profitable because they will have a buyer of all their production. That is Mahasakthi Group. And there will also be a mechanism of financing all that, because we will have a microbank that will be created by the population, the local population, and through that microbank, they will be receiving financing. And when they sell their production to Mahasakthi, Mahasakthi will pay back to the microfinance institution that will take the loan for reimbursement and give them back what is remaining for their daily needs. So you see that we'll come out with a virtuous circle of economic and social development. So it is not just a project for producing sugarcane. It is an integrated social and economical project.
Apart from facilitating the project, what else is Afriland First Holdings bringing in terms of input?
We brought in our expertise in terms of research, feasibility study. We did a lot of studies. We brought in our network of partners because we have many partners. And in the case of sugarcane and cassava, the partner that we suggested to the government is Mahasakthi. We have also some financial partner that we will bring in. So we are there to facilitate, to find solutions to problems that are brought to us. So this is a solution to a problem that was brought to us. There are also many other problems that we are looking for solutions, and that is how we'll be helping Central African Republic to really take off his economic development.
Are you also considering putting in finances to contribute in the huge package that is required for this project?
The financing is also one of the leverage that we'll be doing in terms of finding financial partners. That you see, it is a $1.2 billion investment. And if you know the GDP, it is half the GDP of this country. So you have a real impact on the social economic development of this country.
Right, so let's conclude with this. What is Afriland First Holdings looking forward to achieving this project? It is just business as usual. You have other objectives, social objectives that you want to achieve.
It is a mix of business and social. You cannot do business. We believe that economic business should be supported by social, because if people are not socially well, you cannot have a sustainable business. So that is why, but to have a sustainable social support, you need to be economically strong. So that is why we balance between economic and social development of the population.
All right, before we go, how important and strategic is this project to the Central African Republic, its head of state, and why not the continent at large?
You are right. We are not only doing it for Central African Republic. It is a start. We are going to implement it here. We are also working on other African countries, and our goal is really to bring that social development take up in all African countries, so that Africa can be one of the leaders in the economy of the world.
Thank you very much for your time.
You are welcome.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us.
Another exclusive interview done by reporter on special assignment Babila Jonathan, the Central African Republic, ends this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for staying with us and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye for now.